we got a comment from Luke Becker,
Mhm.
and I thought this one was really important to talk about. If I buy a property in the company's capacity and I sign surety for the bond in my personal name, will I need tax clearance for the company only or for my personal name as well?
Okay, so if I understand the question correctly, he's referring to a SARS tax clearance, and the banks doesn't require that. They don't require you to submit a tax clearance for the company, they don't require you to submit a tax clearance in your personal capacity if it's a non-trading entity, so be very careful on how you're going to apply, because some of the banks don't allow non-trading, trading companies rather, to enter into home loan agreements. F&B steers clear from any trading company entities. In other words, if it's an active business that's running a completely separate business that wants to now buy a property, they will not entertain that application. And some banks with trading entities can then require a tax clearance certificate, because if there's any tax debt and tax obligations, it might impact that company's cash flow and equity position, so then they might call for a tax clearance certificate, although we don't see it very often. But ultimately, if you're buying in a juristic entity, be it a trust or a company, a PTY Limited or a CC, or even a partnership, you don't necessarily have to provide a tax clearance certificate if it's a non-trading entity. In other words, if it's a company that doesn't trade, doesn't have any existing business, they'll just need what they call a solvency certificate from the accountant.
Okay. Can you just touch on more details and more of an explanation of a solvency certificate?
Okay, so it's just basically to say that the business is solvent, it hasn't got any delinquent debt. It's a very simple document, and what we will be introducing as originators to all our self-employed clients is a set of documents that we will now issue to your accountant to guide them on the best way to present your financial information if you apply for a home loan. But a solvency certificate for any entity is something that the bank requires. You know, lots of clients object and say, but I've just registered this company now, why do I need a solvency certificate? I get that, it makes perfect sense, but it's unfortunately a standard minimum requirement from the banks, so the accountant just needs to issue a letter to say the business is solvent, it's not delinquent, it hasn't got any outstanding debts, because sometimes you can buy a business over from somebody else and you unaware of any outstanding debts or tax obligations. It happens, so be very careful for that.
Yeah.